Hi, everybody, and welcome to our very first English podcast. I'm here with my very good friend. He's going to introduce himself, but he's a very dear friend of mine. Please go ahead.
Hello. Why? Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, keep going.
We'll give Johnny something to work with.
To cut.
So, hey guys, my name is Christian. I am a local photographer here in the area of Reno. Online, my Instagram handles and stuff. A lot of people know me by Isma Images, so just a photographer and videographer here locally. So
you're just a photographer?
No, I do photo and video.
Okay.
A little bit of
we're gonna have fun today.
I do a little. Yes, we're gonna have a lot of fun. There's a lot of history here, a lot of chemistry,
a lot of things intertwined
to talk about. Right. So yeah, I'm a good friend of Christian's. We met in church. You know, the church setting.
Jesus.
Thank you, Jesus. We met in church, when I was a little baby.
I think
little
it was
child.
before.
I was a child, man. I was like about a year or 2 years old.
You weren't even born, bro.
Probably wasn't even born, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember meeting your family when, Itzel, your sister, was like in diapers still.
Yeah, so
and you're how many years difference?
I'm a year and a half younger than she is.
Yeah, so your mom's probably pregnant with you when
probably, yeah. But since then we've known each other, so we go
crazy.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
so you grew up here in the Reno area, right? And what made you go into photography and videography? And what else do you do? I mean, is that a little bit of that? Like, what's your background? Where's your folks from? How did they get here?
One at a time, brother. Asking me all these questions.
All of them at the same time.
So
give you a little bit something to talk about. Something to talk about.
So first of all, I guess we'll start with born and raised here. I'm a Reno native. I went through the school system here, graduated from McQueen High. Go Lancers.
Boo.
Boo. Probably went to Hug. Huh?
Reno High.
Oh, okay, that makes
Huskies.
sense. Yeah. I don't even know what they do. Right? So yeah, born and raised here, went to high school here, everything. And my parents are my mom's from my dad's from Guatemala. My mom is Mexican. And over the last couple of years, I've been able to go back and visit beautiful places.
Both places, Mexico and Guatemala?
Yeah. So I didn't start traveling until I really started, I guess, making my own money. Mm-hmm. And, had a couple of years of a relationship with my girlfriend. And, we started to travel with her family. And we were able to visit Mexico first, and then I went to Guatemala about 2 years ago. So it's a beautiful, beautiful country. But as far as how I started photography, funny story actually. Your producer here was one of the few people that introduced me to it and picked it up from there. I'll give the story real quick. We were hanging out, and one day he goes, "Hey, you want to come with me?" I was like, "For sure." For what? He's like, "I'm gonna go take some photos." I was like, okay, let's go. So he was taking some photos.
Sexy photos?
No, just, I think it was for branding. I think it was for branding.
Okay.
And he was shooting something for a brand, and he tells me, hey, here's the camera, go shoot. And I was like, oh, snap. So I went, and from there I never looked back, So want to credit a couple of my friends, my friend Chava, my friend Fernando, my friend Carlos, and my friend Juan. And my friend Jesse, recent really good friend of mine, really helped me take my photography and video skills to the next level. But credit a lot of it to my good friend Chava and my friend Juan. So from, I want to say 2018, I kind of started, right? 2017 maybe. And then 2020, I decided to go full time, start my own little gig. Mm-hmm. And pretty crazy how that all happened, where at one point I just got fed up with my job, and I was like, I think I can make enough money doing that. And now we're about 5 years in. So
nice. Working for yourself, basically.
Yeah, so I do photo, and I don't know if I mentioned this at some point, but I do photo and video for weddings and quinceañeras. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of my bread and butter, and right now I'm in grad season. But over the years, I've been able to pick up, not odd jobs, but some jobs here and there, as far as like real estate work. I've done real estate jobs. I've done listings. I've worked with real estate agents as far as their like social media and stuff. I've done professional headshots. I've worked with a politician here for the city of Sparks. I've made a couple commercials for him. So little by little, I've been, expanding my abilities with photo and video. But besides that, I am also recently, and this is kind of like on a personal note, recently engaged.
Oh, congrats.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Me and my fiance, shout out to my girl Melissa, my sweetie pie, my media naranja.
That was in the spectrum, bro.
Yeah,
that was in the spectrum.
It's okay. It's all right. Charter Spectrum. That's where he used to work. Before he did insurance, he plugged in your cable box.
I did. I would install that cable.
He was a creeper. Like, hey,
whoa, I don't know about that.
Let me get in there.
Let me go under your house.
Like, you had a 3 o'clock appointment. They're like, bro, I don't have Charter. I have what is it, Dish
or DirecTV.
DirecTV, right? No, so my fiance and I have we both started it, and I sometimes forget to credit her. She's the one that bought me my first camera, actually.
Really?
But yeah,
That's
recently
awesome.
engaged, and we both do photo and video. She's my right hand woman.
Right
my rib.
Right so when's the wedding?
October. I'm getting married this year, so I'm very excited for that.
And obviously, she proposed to you.
No. No. I mean, we're in America, and it's 2025, so it might be okay, but not for me. I'm a
traditional.
I'm a traditional machista. I'm just playing.
Of course, it would be.
I'm a machista. No, I'm just playing. Yeah, just recently got engaged. Gonna get married in October. But another aspect, and we kind of touched bases on the front end of the conversation. Church. So I'm a big church goer. I'm a Jesus lover, a follower of Christ, a born again Christian. I really take a lot of pride in my Christianity, but I don't boast in me being a Christian, but boast in Christ.
Right.
And
nor are you the judgmental type, because you wouldn't.
Maybe people. If you piss me off, I'm just like no. By no means. I've always really tried my best to, and at some point maybe it could have come off that way, but. As I've grown up, I've seen the ins and outs of churches, and I've realized that all of us are imperfect. All of us need Christ. Meanwhile, we're in flesh. All of us are going to be in need of God. So that is something that I preach and I live most importantly. So, as Scripture says, give by grace as you have received so freely, right? We need to give it freely, and I'm really grateful for the church that I'm in, my pastor. My church friends and family, that's a very strong community that I'm a part of, and I'm really grateful. I go to church out in Carson City.
That's awesome. Do you do photography for them and videography for them?
So that's another thing. So I've been very blessed to kind of start. I started in the church, and it's kind of funny how a lot of musicians also start in church. They pick up a talent in there, and some people choose to use it for secular gain, but I want to thank God that he gave me the ability to do what I do and put the right people in front of me. And I've been doing church media now for about, I want to say, since 2018. And it started there, and it took off into a business, and I'm able to now teach certain young people. I'm trying to coach up little, I guess you can say, like teenagers, like trying to coach them up. But I have been able to go to, I went to San Diego. I went to San Diego, and I was able to teach and coach up their media team out there. And I have a very distinct style. My style is very filmy, a little bit more on the cooler side. And I've been able to help a couple churches here locally too. And through that, I kind of see my style resemble, but definitely been able to start there and to teach. So I do social media for my church and all that stuff. But that's kind of my resume there. I'm sure something else will come up.
Just putting it out there, just throwing, just hit me up, like it's
no.
I'm just kidding.
What's crazy? I'm actually gonna share this. A lot of people have asked me, like, hey, how much do you charge to teach? And once again, I'll never charge the church. That's not something that I want to do, right?
I'm a church.
Okay, I won't charge you. We are the church, right?
Isn't that what the Bible says?
That's what Scripture says. We are the church.
Exactly.
We are the temple of God, right? Or a temple of God. But I've never put a price tag on teaching, especially when it comes to ministry. A lot of people have poured into me as far as my gifts and talents. I'm a former drummer. I don't drum anymore, but kind of funny. I actually started with my boy Chris here. You see the piano to his right? Yep. Yep.
I don't think they can see it. They don't want to see
There's
this.
a piano over there, probably as big as Chris. Probably as big as Chris.
I think I'm bigger.
In the gym, bro. But yeah, that's how a lot of people have poured into me, and I've been able to reciprocate that now that I'm older, pouring out, obviously like resources. So I'm coaching up this young kid right now from a church here locally, and he's a drummer. I'm not teaching him how to drum, but more so like social media, the ropes on that, and teaching him has really, I see myself a lot in them, because there was a lot of people that, made the time to show me. And I'm really grateful for that, because if it wasn't for the time that they invested in me, I wouldn't be able to say that I've gotten this far, Right. So right. I'm grateful for that. And now I'm just paying it forward.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where you don't realize how much other people have actually invested into us,
100%.
And then when people come out and they say, well, I'm a self-made man, I'm a self-made woman, whatever, right? You're full of crap, and I feel that way, because nobody gets to where they're at by themselves,
Right.
There is somebody taught you one way or another,
right.
You got started. You started with Jonathan here, just simply saying, hey man, come with me, go shoot that photo.
Yeah.
And that was it. That was the beginning. That was
the spark of it all, man.
Yeah.
That was the spark of it all.
What crazy story would you have for the people, that you ran across,
Like as far as
videography, photography.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
I mean, that's there's always something fun.
Yeah, there's some good stories in there, There's some good stories in there. I have one where, and this was like about 2 years ago, and I have a bunch, but this one was actually, I've never shared this. I was shooting a wedding, and it was like, the party time, and people were like, hey, can you get a photo of me? I'm like, of course, turn around and or whatever, and trying to direct them with just my voice. And I remember telling an aunt and the bride, oh, why don't you turn around and give her like a kiss on the cheek? And both of them turned around and kissed each other on the mouth. So, and I got the photo. I actually have the photo still. No. So it was one of those things where, you kind of have miscommunication. And they were like,
did I just get married to the wrong person?
They played it off. They played it off, Another one definitely has to be, it was a little more recent. I was shooting my best friend's actually engagement, and we were doing it at Collin Ranch, and this like older lady, you can definitely tell she was off her meds that day. She parks her car right in front of us, like, and she gets off and she's yelling at us, and I'm like, finishing up the photos, and I turn and I'm like, what's going on? She's pointing at us. She's like, somebody that speaks English, come here.
Wow. So
I walk over there and we get into a huge argument, right? And she's all like, you can't be here, you can't do that, this is private property, this and that. She's like, my tax dollars go to this. And I was like, first of all, you assume that I didn't speak English, right? Because I'm brown. I'm not that brown.
You're not.
I'm
pretty
white,
you're pretty pasty.
I'm a pretty transparent, Hispanic.
Casper over here.
Yeah, I'm 50 Shades of White here, brother.
Oh man,
they call me the Pillsbury Doughboy sometimes, boy. Not for being chubby. But
no, definitely not.
Not the chubby part. That's not what it resembles, bro.
No resemblance whatsoever.
But
Michelin guy over here.
Whoa, brother. We had agreed to this, man. Anywho,
it's okay, bro. Tight pants over here. It's all good.
Tight pants, no socks, bro. Give your son his shirt back, bro. Your son's like 3 years old. You shop at the Baby Gap.
That's okay, bro. It's just part of the growth.
You haven't grown. You've been the same. You've been the same, bro.
I mean, mentally.
Okay. Grow financially.
Growth financially.
In age. Well, anyways, this lady starts yelling at us, right? And we go out. Like, I go, my fiance goes, and my soon-to-be cuñada goes, right? And we tear this old lady a new one, man. We're, like, yelling at her. And I was like, call the cops then. And she calls, like, the HOA. And she basically comes back and she apologized. She was like, I didn't mean to do anything. Like, we obviously recorded and took photo, and she was like, I didn't mean to be that way. And I was like, I think you owe us an apology. And I made her apologize to all of us.
That's good.
Yeah, so that was one of them. Man, let's see. man, I've seen many people fall. Like when I'm taking photos, they fall all the time.
Do they just play it off? Like,
yeah, no, I mean they're doing like like they're dancing and they fall, and I'm like, I think I got that right.
Oh shoot!
I've also seen a bunch of cakes fall. That's something that's actually and people don't
are you
realize.
Like taking the picture as the cake is falling?
There was actually this one time my fiance and I were next to the cake table, and the cake table wasn't set up right, and boom, it falls over, and they're looking at us. I was like, I didn't touch it, I swear. And they're like, you wanted a piece, huh? I'm like, yeah, I did. You wanted a tear, huh?
Oh, with the fat jokes, really?
Hey, bro, it's there, dude. I had to dunk it on myself. Man, no, there's endless stories. Like I'm sure one will come up right now, but yeah, over time you definitely run into all kinds of people.
Right.
You run into people that don't like your work. That they're like not happy with it, but it's part of it, right? And it just helps you. And it's really helped me refine my work. At some point, I did want to be like certain people and have a certain style like theirs. But over time, you learn how to become original, right? And how to become yourself. And that's something that I'm very happy. I can say very happily that I've achieved. I do take resemblance from my peers and my friends, but I definitely have my own style, my own look.
Right. If there's something that you like from somebody because they're doing it right, right, of course. You want to learn and do it. Maybe not exactly the same way, but you also want to have it to your own style,
100%.
Because you're learning from that individual. There's that little touch that they might have, and then you're like, oh shoot, I like that. I want to do it that way, but I'm gonna do it with my style.
100%, and it doesn't always have to just be, for example, like a certain like photo thing. It can be the way that they treat people, and over time, I've learned certain things because I've seen my friends work certain ways, right? I'm constantly learning, so I'm a student of the game, right? As the years go on, technology keeps on advancing, so trying to keep up with like the newer styles, the newer trends, and still trying to stay true to yourself is something that's a little challenging. But over time, you get comfortable with certain things that I'm able to do, and I realize that there's not things that I'm able to do. Like there's people that go on crazy hikes and take photos for like people up in the mountains. Like that's not for me, right? But yeah, as far as anything that goes with like photography for like weddings and quinceañeras, I have experience in it, and I've done things the wrong way too. Like there's plenty of times that I've made a mistake, and you learn from them and you polish your craft. And
that's what I was gonna go into right now, and I actually ask you that. What was one of your biggest failures that you would say you'd have? Because everybody has to have one. If you don't have one, you're not learning.
That's actually a great question. So the first year that I went full time, I had a client reach out to me, and the first time that I got like a big package, I used to charge $100, $50 an hour, right? And that's for a wedding. And the first time, I kind of got a big package for photo and video, like I was all like, man, I'm just gonna take it, I'm gonna do it, right? And my cameras take 2 SD cards, but at that time I didn't know better, so I shoot the whole day, everything's fine. I end up going home and one of them corrupted. And it was the one with the photos.
No.
Yeah, so I lost wedding photos, and that was one of the hardest things that has ever happened to me in my career.
How did it corrupt?
So it's failure. Like at some point where either I pulled the SD card out or I put it in the laptop, it corrupted. So I couldn't even go back and see anything, bro. Like it was terrible. It was the worst thing ever. I knew it was recording because I keep count of how many photos I take throughout the day. Right. But it completely corrupted. And
what do you tell them? At that point,
it was the hardest thing I've ever had to confess to a client, where you get on a phone call or you want to meet in person, and for one reason or another, we weren't able to meet in person. But I met with them over FaceTime, and I almost shed prior to that, I cried, man. I cried for a day or two. The next morning I woke up and I was like, man, I have to share this with a client. I have to come clean. And I called them and I let them know, and they were super understanding. They're like, we understand stuff happens. I was like, I can refund you guys. I can, shoot again. And they're like, no, we just want to take the refund. So I ended up giving them a refund. I still gave them video, and from video I pulled photos. Okay. So I was still able to give them something, and I walk away from that experience with my head high. But it was a very expensive very expensive
mistake.
Yeah, it's like some people's rent. You know what I mean?
Right,
So
right.
it was one of those things where I just would never wish, like I would never hope that happens to anybody. Right. I would never hope that happens to anybody because it's a hard thing to, overcome. But yeah, that's probably the biggest failure that I've had.
People that have influenced you as a mentor, who would you say that would be? I mean, you mentioned Chava. You mentioned Jonathan, and then you mentioned other people.
So first of all, I would say Jesus Christ. That's the person that I strive to be like every day. Number one, right? But picture wise, I would really, really have to say my friend Chala. I mean, such a good friend that and I'm not just name dropping because he's like kind of has some clout. Okay. No. He's my friend. Like outside of us doing photo and video, I've gotten to know these guys like, great friends of mine, and not just that, but they're gonna be in my wedding. So you see the level of friendship that I have with them. There's this gentleman there's this gentleman here locally. His name is Michael Warner. Amazing photographer. Does like more documentary, a little more of like editorial work, and it's a blend of both, and it's very like cinematic photography, and that's something that I've wanted to like dive into, but I feel like there's a niche for that. There's like you remember back then where everything used to be super brown, like people used to take like photos and make them really warm. Okay. I don't know if that's like. If it'll age the same way, but eventually I feel like this will like stand the test of time because it's very clean, it's very traditional, but it's not it has like some, I guess you can say like it's trending a little bit. So that's someone that I really look up to. Let's see who else as far as video. So as far as video, there's this gentleman here called Davey Hibbler. He's a friend of mine. He's actually shooting my wedding. He is amazing videographer, like where you see his stuff and you're like, holy moly, like this is crazy. So he's a videographer, and I would say like one of the like OGs here that does amazing work. He shoots at Lake Tahoe like all season long. So amazing videographer, amazing. So those are some people that I look up to locally, but yeah, those are my inspirations.
Where do you see yourself heading now? Now, before we go into that one, you had and this is just because we know each other, right? But you had a food truck.
I did.
Yeah. What happened with that? How did it go? Yeah. How did you start it? And where is it at now?
So, great question. I started a food truck with my family. My dad, has many years of culinary experience, and
yes, great person, by the way.
My dad's a great person, great cook, the world's greatest father. I can't stress that enough. Yeah. But one day we sat at our kitchen table and we're like, let's just go for it. And we did. And I prayed to God. I said, God, if this is your will, open the doors, right? And it's pretty crazy though, because not everything seems what it first appears to be, right? So we opened up. We had some issues with, the trailer at first with like getting it licensed with the plumbing, but we got through it, and we wanted to get the trailer a few months prior, but because of all that, we started later on in the year. And in the, I guess you can say the winter seasons, there's no food trailers out. So we took on this expecting to pay for what the trailer cost and make some, right? So we kind of entered it with not the best like strategy, right? And just about a month and a half ago, we decided to, change our direction into going into full-time catering. So we have our catering business now.
Is it still through the trailer?
So we no longer have the trailer. We broke the lease with the trailer, gave it back to the builder, and we decided to go full-time catering. And it's been working out for us, and the overhead's not as much. I mean, just to run the trailer, you're looking at around, or not even to run it, just to have it, right? The insurance, the trailer lease, or I guess you can call payment, everything besides like the actual food that goes in it, we're looking at like $4,200 a month. Jesus. And then you're looking at merchandise, so you're looking at probably another.
Oh yeah, you still have to pay for the food that you're going to be selling, right? Plus your time. That
I wasn't getting paid. My dad wasn't getting paid.
Right, and that's any business,
And we decided to cut our losses, and we decided to go full time into catering, and that's where we've been at now for the last month. We've picked up a total of 3 jobs already, and compared to what we made there, we already made
like what you would
we would have made there. Yeah. So no overhead really, just the food that we're buying itself and the service that we provide.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah, but that was our business for a short period of time. We learned a lot though.
How tough was it for you to get the insurance set up now that we have our insurance?
Great question. Actually, so the insurance portion of it, and it's kind of funny that we're on an insurance podcast. It wasn't too bad.
We gotta relate it somehow.
Insurance had to come up.
It's gotta,
as long as you don't try to sell me nothing, bro.
Yeah, I mean, you do need life insurance.
Bro, I'm gonna leave with Jesus before I die, bro. You need rapture insurance, brother. You need insurance for when Jesus comes back.
That's right, and all the people that are gonna be dead and stuff like that.
I'm not gonna die. No. So as far as the insurance with the trailer goes, I mean, we reached out to, I don't even remember who we did the insurance through, but basically paid a monthly fee, and that was kind of it. I didn't really handle it. My parents did on that portion. But as far as like what the insurance was for the trailer, I mean, it wasn't too crazy, but you did reach out, but I told you, I was like, yeah, man, we already got it. I wish we would have gone with you guys.
Yeah.
Kind of a side note, but yeah, I mean, definitely one of those things that just
add
up. Yeah. It's expensive. I'll say that much. Insurance and all that was not something we really like accounted for. And like, as far as anything that had to do with, like the permits, that was something that was super new to us. So insurance, and it's like little money here, little money there, and it just adds up. It just
adds up, exactly.
Yeah, but it's important to have, good insurance, because a few times I was like, I'm about to kill someone with this thing, Right. I've never driven with a trailer, right, and my dad hasn't either, so we learned. And it's really important to have good insurance, right? So yeah, man, it was definitely one of those things where we're like, man, we could kill somebody,
right? And you got to make sure that you have somebody that knows what they're doing, like, because there could be people out there. I'm not saying that this happens, but or happens often, but there could be people out there they're like, okay, here's your insurance policy. What does it cover? Well, your trailer's covered, and that's about it, all you need, right? But they don't go into detail as to what you really need or the coverages that you need to have. Right. Something that they need to, I believe, explain to every single customer, that comes into play, because a lot of people don't know. They just know that they're insured.
Right. And I mean, that is very true. You need to know the ins and the outs of what you're receiving. But as far as like what we received, like, thank God that we didn't need it for much longer. But I mean, yeah, it's very important to know what you're buying and what you're getting into, because the day that you do need it, that's when you're like, oh man, that didn't cover. I don't have it. Yeah, I mean, and that's funny, because I needed gap insurance on one of the cars that I owned for the first time, and I crashed the car, and they're like, you don't have gap insurance, and I was all like, oh. So
now you're upside down, like however much you owed on it.
Yep, you're upside down, and then you have to try to get into a new car, or figure out where you're at.
So they put that really loan into the other car. Yep.
It just rolls over. So it's really important to know what you're getting, because the day you need it is the day you
don't have it per se.
Yeah,
but exactly. Yeah, or you should have it, right? So yeah, very interesting, man. So back to the question that we were going is, where do you see your work heading now?
I think there is going to be a change as far as like for me personally. I'm gonna get married, so it's now my fiance and soon to be wife, and we want to travel. So I'm gonna be very honest, and this sounds kind of funny, I could live without taking another photo, right? I'm just grateful for the experiences it has allowed me to grow and to see and to experience, right? So all that stuff, I'm very grateful for that. But as far as what I see myself doing in the next, or how my business will develop in the next 5 years, I'm gonna be honest with you, I really don't know. I have been, wanting to better my video work and upgrading my camera for photo, but it's almost as if, like, with being the best version of myself, I want to obviously have that translate into my photography, but I want to have it obviously grow. I want to better my quality. I think that's something that we all strive for. I'm sure that's at some point we're going to be shooting in 8K, but it looks like technology is moving in that direction. But I just want to continue to learn and, be the best, not photographer in the city, because I think that's subjective, but I do want to be the best version that I can be in the future, right? So with learning, with being able to teach, but yeah, in every aspect, man.
I'm like, why is he wearing a jacket? It's hot in here.
I'm not hot.
Yes, you are.
You're a freak, bro. You're a freaky dude.
Oh, shoot. Let me see. What is the last question we're going to ask you?
Okay.
What is the best compliment you've ever received to finish this off?
I wouldn't say it was a compliment.
Okay.
I mean, yes, in a way it is, but it was more of a gesture. I received, for a wedding that I shot last year, I actually received almost a $400 tip.
Oh, that's amazing.
So that was a really nice gesture, and I can say that's a compliment, right?
Yeah.
But that was definitely
because they're complimenting on the work by giving you an extra income,
extra income, yeah. So
an extra whatever.
It was like 370. I can't remember how much exactly, but I knew it was close to 400. But it was a pretty nice tip, and that was definitely one of the bigger compliments I've received. As far as people saying, something, and this is kind of funny. I remember me telling my dad when I first started, like, hey man, if I just get one job for $3,000 a month, I can live off of that. And he goes, and he knew it. Like he said it to, and now he confesses that he said it to push me, but I don't think so. He goes, you should probably get a real job. And I was all like, bruh, I was like, almost like when people doubt you, and it hurts. It hurts more when it's like your family,
right?
But he was all like, you should get a real job, like go to school or something. And I was like, just watch. And I was so mad. And I went to Guatemala 2 years ago, and my dad's like uncle was like bragging about his children, how they're all doctors and stuff. And he asked me, what do you do? And I was all like, I was like, I'm a photographer. And he's like, oh, that probably doesn't bring a lot of money, huh? I was like, if you knew, I make more money than my dad, and that's when I realized, like, wow, like I really came a long way from where I was at. But when my dad, realized that it wasn't just a hobby, and it wasn't just like a fling, it's not just one of those things like I want to play soccer for 1 year and then so when he noticed, he was like, wow, your work is really nice. And that was one of the bigger compliments I've received from a person. Right. And it means more because it's your dad.
I was just gonna say that, like like your parents telling you that how proud they are of you. It's a big, especially because when they tell you, oh, you probably shouldn't do that because of blah blah blah, or go get a real job, or hey, you know what, you should probably leave that idea that you have, because they know what it is to struggle. So, and it doesn't mean that because it didn't work for them, it is not gonna work for you. You know. And I think that's something that us as parents need to not tell our kids, that they can't do something. As a matter of fact, it should be something that we should encourage them. Why? Because if they fail, let them fail, but fail forward, so that they learn from their mistakes, they learn their lessons, and they move on from there, I
like that. I like how you said that. That's very true. And especially with parents like us that are immigrants, same thing with Jonathan here, parents that come from a different time, from a different place, they've exchanged their labor for money, right? And the saying, work smarter, not harder, it applies to us, right? Especially now. I mean, the world revolves around technology. People make 6-figure income by talking on the phone, literally, like recording themselves. And so the way that the money exchange happens now, it's way different than how it was back then. It is, right? When they were dealing with pesos, quetzales, probably
colones.
What was it called?
Colones.
Yeah, I mean, no longer.
No, it hasn't been for years. Yeah, it hasn't been colones.
Yeah, it hasn't been for a few years, right? But they've exchanged their work for money, right? But it's different for us now. So for parents to encourage their children, never step on their dreams, because there's some people that will fold under the pressure. They'll be like, my parents don't even support me. Why should I do this? I'm not saying that I'm, super high and mighty and like I'm going to get through it, but it actually fueled me. I
It
was
does.
like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to prove them wrong. And I was able to.
I'm sure Jonathan's been in that same boat, you know, like maybe not his parents, but somebody else, you know, or it can be even your own closest friends that you thought that they were going to be
100%.
your real friends. And in reality, your real friends should be the ones that support you, and not the ones that put you down, or that they tell you that what you're doing is a dumb idea, or it's not going to work, or, you know, like, why don't you go and, hey, come and work with me, you know, at this place. A job is just something that you do in the meantime while you're building something for yourself.
Right, 100%. And I'm going to be honest with you, photography isn't my, like, forever job.
Right.
I definitely feel like I've been put here in this world to pour out what God's put on my heart, you know? So if that's being a speaker one day, if that is, you know, being a youth leader one day, or you know, being a mentor, that's kind of where I see myself ultimately. I'm just grateful for the vehicle of videography and photo that has allowed me to meet all kinds of people. Like, I've met a lot of cool people, so I'm very grateful for that.
Who's the coolest person that you met besides me?
Ooh, your producer? I'm just playing.
That's another one. Yeah, besides Jonathan and I.
That's a really good question. So I actually met someone that records music videos for E40. And I actually met one of his producers. But as far as like famous people, not too many, if I'm being honest. Like I'm that's not really my scene, if I'm being honest. Like
right.
I don't really do like any sort of like content for, you know, them. But I mean, that's just not really my place, right? But I've gotten to meet some really cool people. As far as, you know, their personalities, not their social status.
And as far as helping out the community, how would you say that your work has helped the community?
So I actually did some work for a retired fireman that wanted to work for the, I guess the district for like Washoe County. And I worked on his campaign, and he had, you know, the desire to bring families together, that part of my work, right? But as far as like what I have offered, man, that's a good question. I don't feel like I've really done like something necessarily for like the community per se, but my direct family, of course, like the people that surround me, I can impact the world. Well, I mean, right?
And you're also helped in the church, so that's also part of the community, you know, because it can be.
Yeah, so I mean, I've poured out resources and been able to, you know, help certain churches and groups, you know, solidify their social media. But I wouldn't say like a huge community, but as individuals, I'm more of a like hands-on, one-on-one type of person.
Right on.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate your time. I appreciate being here. You know, you making this time to get to know you, get to know what you do. You know, have a great conversation, have a little bit of fun with each other, right? Take a couple of shots, because that's what we do. You know, that's what friends do.
Like verbal shots.
Verbal shots.
I don't drink here. First of all,
I mean, the blood of Jesus is a shot.
Come on now, come get yourself some coffee.
Some good coffee at Feel Good Insurance.
Feel Good Insurance. Hey, gas. Feel Good Coffee.
Feel Good Coffee.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So make sure you come get yourself some.
Yeah, man. So it's been a pleasure, you know, and it's always great. You know, you helped us out with our initial pictures as well. So that was great. You know, we appreciate that. This is before we knew that you were back in town. So otherwise, you know, John, you would have been a go to either way, you know. And that's the nice thing, that you have choices.
Go with me. I'm playing.
You know, that braggadocious kind of attitude doesn't take you anywhere, sir.
It's called confidence.
It's called Jesus said.
Where does he say it?
He said, don't be a Christian, be a follower of Christ.
Don't be a Christian, be a follower of Christ. Hey, bro, that's blasphemy. That's crazy, my brother. Who invited this guy? Is your guys' host?
Anyway, it's been great. Can you give our people your information, how they can reach you, phone number, emails, you know, all of your socials, all that good stuff. ZipRecruiter.com.
So I'm online. I'm as Isma Images, so Instagram, Facebook as well. But my full name is Christian Sanchez. If you guys want to email me, it's isma_images@gmail.com. You guys can always reach out that way and, you know, start a conversation like that.
And your phone number?
Oh, my phone number is 775-409-9253. So that you can always text me, call me. I get, I'll be driving around or hanging out, and
just a random message will come through.
Some Hispanic person calls me.
Wow. Do they have to be Hispanic?
Yeah, they're literally Hispanic all the time. They're like, hola. I'm like, hello. ¿Es el fotógrafo? I'm like, oh, mucho gusto, me llamo Cristian. Don't think because we're doing this in English, I don't speak Spanish. I'm very fluent in Spanish.
He's very español.
I'm bilinguish. And they're like, ¿es el fotógrafo? I'm like, sí, mucho gusto. ¿Con qué le puedo servir? They're like, oh, tengo una quinceañera.
We should have done this in Spanish. I would have probably had a more of a fun time.
I think I would have sounded very dumb because sometimes like I'll get stuck and I'll be like, ¿cerramos en español o qué?
No, that's fine. I
think
this
you
is
don't
great.
know Spanish. That's right.
Born and raised in El Salvador.
You heard just that, Bukele?
Yeah, Bukele. Hey, shout out.
Hey, shout out.
Right on, man. Well, again, it was a pleasure. Great having you here. And again, just follow us. Follow my friend Isma and also Jonathan Gama in any way, shape, or form. We can help you guys out. We're here for you. Thanks for coming out.
Don't sell me no insurance, brother, because I ain't buying it. I'm just like, I will be talking to him about life insurance here shortly. Yeah. Well, maybe not right now, because
Yeah,
But later.
That's okay.
You can take me out to coffee or something. I feel good insurance.
I'll bring it to my coffee maker right in the front.
Just sit right here next to this coffee maker.
Right on, my man. Thank you,
brother. Thank you, brother. Cut that.